Hi, good evening, everyone. Myself, Devendra Saini. So I am again in front of you with the day 2 of the Gear Up Mains answer writing. So today we will discuss the second question that was based on the medieval India, specifically to the Bhakti movement. And this question was already asked by UPSC in year 2021. Okay, so under this program, we are giving you a single question on daily basis. That is from the previous year question. We are putting the question in a Telegram group. It is advisable to you, please write the answer before attending this class. अगर आप अच्छे से लिखेंगे, when I'm telling about the key points of the answer, you can match your answer. So it will give you the higher outcome of these classes. Okay, so let's see about the question of today. So today's question was, evaluate the nature of the Bhakti movement and its contribution to the Indian culture. So the question is very simple. They are asking about the evaluate the nature of the Bhakti movement and its contribution to the Indian culture. So there are two parts of this question. One is the nature. There are two parts. One is the nature of the Bhakti movement. Second is the contribution of the movement to the Indian culture. So we need to address both the part of the question in the answer. So, but before going to the body part, we need to introduce the question very well. So if you know the Bhakti movement, but Bhakti movement was started during the 6th century at the time of Alvars. If you remember from your NCERT textbooks, Alvars and Nanas. But the specific period of the Bhakti movement was from 13th century to the 18th century. So during the 6th century, there were the Alvars and Nayanas. Alvars mainly those who are the Vishnu followers, God Vishnu followers. And Nayanas are those who are the Shiva followers. That was started during the 6th century. So, but in between 13th to 18th century, there was mainly the Bhakti movement was. This was time period of the Bhakti movement. If you remember the time period of Tulsidas, Kalidas, Mirabai, Dadu Dayal, the one of the famous one. These are all from this time period, the 13th to 18th century. They give a new direction to the Bhakti movement at that time. So in the introduction, you can write the Bhakti movement initially was started in the 6th century. That was mainly from the Alvars and Nayanas, the specifically followers of the Vishnu and the Lord Shiva. But the major of the Bhakti movement was starting in the 13th to 18th century that changed the nature of the Bhakti movement. And that specifically focused to the contribution of the Indian culture. So this can be your introduction. Or some of the other way also you can define the introduction. You can define the Bhakti movement here. So in the introduction, I hope you understand what to write in the introduction part of this question. Okay, so now let's move to the body part. So in the introduction part, आपने specifically देख लिया कि in between the 6th century there was the Alvars and the Nayanas. Alvars were the Vishnu followers and the Nayanas were the Shiva followers. In between 13th to 18th century, there were the various Bhakti cult, Tulsidas, Kalidas, and some of the others like the Mirabai and the Baswana also. These are some of the Bhakti cult at the time. If you read the NCERT, there's a map given for these specific Bhakti cult. So I show you the map. Here, you can see Surdas in 16th century. Ramananda in 16th century. Kabir, 15th to 16th century. Kalidas in the 15th century. These are specifically in the central India. If you go to Western India, then the Dadu Dayal in the Rajasthan area, 16th to 17th century. Mirabai in specifically in the Gujarat region, 16th century. If I come to the like the southern India, then the Purandarasa, Ramdas, Baswana, Tukaram, Eknath, these all were the Bhakti cult. So if you mention the examples in the body part, that can quote these examples there. So I hope the introduction part is clear to you. Now let's move to the body part. In question, I already told you the question has a two part. One is the nature of the Bhakti movement. One is the nature of the Bhakti movement. And second is the contribution specifically to the Indian culture we need to write. So let's discuss about the nature of the Bhakti movement. So in the body part, one is the nature of the Bhakti movement. Second is the contribution of the Bhakti literature. So if you are having the notebook and pen with you, please write down the points, and how to arrange the point is also important in the answer writing process. So I'm again advising you, before attending this class in the live at 6 p.m., please write the answer and submit to the portal. It will be evaluated by our expert mentor. Then these sessions will be very beneficial to you. So nature of the Bhakti literature. Number one, at the time during 13th to 16th century, who was the dominating one in the Bhakti? Specifically the Brahmanical caste. So the Bhakti movement was specifically to target the Brahmanical superiority. Brahmanical superiority. Specifically. This was one of the major points here. Second point, you can write about the monotheism. Monotheism. Monotheism means there is a single god. During the 13th to 18th century, they are mainly focused on a single god. They are not the multiple god divides. They are on the basic on the single gods. That's about the monotheism during the Bhakti movement. Third, salvation. Third is the salvation. Salvation means you are focusing on the God and you are aware about things. Salvation आपको एक like हिंदी में if we say कि salvation आप मोह माया से दूर. That is also the nature of that type of bhakti movement. And these bhakti movements in between the unity of individual with the gods. Specifically, if I write the unity of union of individual with the gods also. Individual with the gods. So if I list down the nature of the Bhakti literature was the first one to target the superiority of the Brahmanical. Second, there was a monotheism. Focus on the monotheism. There is only a single god. Salvation and the union of individual with the God. When you pray for the God, then it's about the union of individual and the gods. So specifically the Bhakti movement was focused on about the caste system, about the gender issue in the religion at that time. So this was the nature of the Bhakti literature. This is the one part you can add this into the body part. And the one more thing. If you're making the subheadings in your body part, you need to take out the word from the question itself. If you are making the heading into the body part, you need to take out the keywords from the question itself for the better understanding of the examiner as well. If you're making the heading, the nature of the Bhakti movement, following are the nature of the Bhakti movement. These are specific words from the question itself. So it will be the clearly visible to the examiner. These are the nature of the Bhakti movements and these are the contribution to the Indian culture of the Bhakti movement. So there is no need to अपने आप से नहीं लिखना है. You can pick the good keywords from the question itself. Following are the nature of the Bhakti movements and the second, the contribution of the Bhakti movements to the Indian culture. So you can write about it. Okay, so let's see that about the second part here. The contribution of the Bhakti literature. Anybody can write in the comment section what are the major contribution of Bhakti literature? So Bhakti literature specifically focus on the caste and the gender issue in the religion. It's caste and the gender issue in the religion. Change in the type of worship. Type of worship. Against the idol. Against the idol worship. Bhakti movement specifically was against the idol worship. Anyone? More points? If anyone can know, you can mention in the comment section. They mainly focus on the literature. They have focused on the indigenous literature also. During the first time, there was only rights given to the some specific varna, though who can do specifically the there are 4 varnas there. Those who can involve in the different type of puja, different type of brahmanical rituals. Only those can participate there. But this nature of the Bhakti movements, all they said that everything is equal, even every gender, every caste is equal there. So this is the second part of the question, the contribution of the Bhakti literature. So first part, the nature of the Bhakti literature, and the second part is the contribution of the Bhakti literature. If I summarize all these points in a tabular form, so these are some of the major points you can write in your answer. Number 1, rejection of Brahmanical superiority, as we discussed. The Bhakti movement directly rejects the superiority of the Brahman. Road of salvation. Union of individual and gods. Focus on vernacular language. About the monotheism. They are only single God. Anybody can tell me in the comment section who said in the 18th century about the one God? So you need to clear the concept. You need to be focused on the prelims perspective as well here. If I come to the contribution of the Bhakti literature, as we discussed, the challenge the caste system there. Lower caste ko temple mein entry nahi thi. So they challenge that system also. Position of the woman in the society. You can also mention about some specific examples like the Tulsidas, Kalidas, Babu Dayal, Dadu Dayal, Baswana, if they are related to some of the specific points here. That will fetch you the half and marks and 1 marks more. They reject the idol worship specifically. They are against the idol worship. The Bhakti movements, Bhakti literature was against the idol worship. Change in the method of worship. And one and last, we can see the filler, the Hindu-Muslim unity. So nature of the Bhakti literature and the contribution of the Bhakti literature. So you need to be right to answer neat and clean. Even you can present in the form of the some of the diagram. You can you can make these kind of a diagram. You can make these are the contribution of the Bhakti literature. It will save your time. These are the contribution of the Bhakti literature. A, B, C, D. This will save your time and your presentation will improve. So we discussed about the introduction, how to write the introduction, what was the question demand, the nature of the Bhakti movement. So we define the Bhakti movement. Then the question demand, the nature of the Bhakti literature, and the contribution of the Bhakti literature at that time. So now it's time to conclude the question as well. Conclusion is as much important as the introduction of the question. If you're not concluding your answer very well, then you will get a half and marks, 1 marks less than those who are concluding their question. So the conclusion is also a very important part of the answer. So from the body part discussion, what can we understand about the conclusion? Bhakti movements not only about the rejection of Brahmanical superiority in the society, or the Bhakti literature, not only about it. It's also about to challenge the caste system. It's also about the position of the woman in the society. It's also about the equality among the different genders. So you can conclude the answer in a 2-line. So this is all about the today question. If you have any doubts, you can mention in the comment section. Even you can text in the Telegram group also. You can join the Join Edukemy on the Telegram for getting the question on a daily basis. The Gear Up 2023 on a Telegram, also another channel you can join. If you want to discuss these kind of the more questions, you can join our main support program that is starting on the 19th. That is starting on the 19th of June, where we are providing you the subject-wise PYQ question, PYQ session discussion, how was the UPSC pattern in the last 7-8 years. Even we are also giving you the practice test. So you, instead of writing the direct test on the Sundays, you need to be practiced. So you will be comfortable, but you're going to answer on the test day, or specifically on Sundays. So if you want, if you have seen like a GS main support program and test series specifically designed in a rigorous manner, specifically focused those who are writing the first time, specifically focused on to clear those who are writing the mains this year. So you can attend the session on the 19th June, where we are taking the first session about the history, and we will analyze the history question. Thank you very much. If any doubts, you can mention in the comment section, or you can also text in the Telegram groups. Thank you.